The motion.
Then your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours!
There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
GMCG. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Slow day in the markets, a little bit of blood. Crypto Jones says Clarity Act postponed. Are we buying the blood? I actually didn't even see that, to be honest. I've been like kind of tapped out. But
yeah, there's some Russia sanctions stuff and something else that pushed it. Some like appointments, Senate appointments, I believe. I don't know.
Okay, maybe we'll tap into that a little bit pre-show if we get a chance. We're buying Lit. It's rocketing. Yeah, dude. Lighter has been the strongest asset. We'll actually go through some majors.
I'm not gonna lie, I faded Lit and regret it.
It was a great, man. Shout out Rambo. It was a great thesis and a great call. Fundamentally, just like made a ton of sense. Yeah, it Lighter's looking great. I'm in the same boat. I didn't size quite as much as I would have liked to, but you know what? We are all good. Interestingly, it'll be interesting to see how that compares and contrasts to something like Hyperliquid right now, price action wise, because Hyperliquid, I believe revenues are down a little bit. And maybe that's something I even check out here on our good old friend Blockworks in a second. But with that being said, let's do some housekeeping, guys. We got a great show today. You know, 2 guests coming on. Of course, we have Arrow coming on first. And then following that, we're going to get GTR, which is like a new trading platform launched on Virtuals. Interesting ones, man. Arrow has been getting a lot of heat recently. The chart is looking pretty brutal.
Yo,
to be honest.
Let's can we pull up this chart?
Yeah.
I did see this on the timeline.
All right.
In fairness, a lot of Robinhood charts are looking quite brutal.
Yes, but this one looks extra brutal. This one looks extra brutal here.
Tough.
This is the arrow chart. And, again, like charts go up, charts go down, but the price action here just looks a little bit inorganic. So we got to, we got to see what's up with that. I guess, like, on that note, too, doing some digging, you take a look at bubble maps, man. This is never the tweet you want to see pop up. And I don't know if I have to, like, go back and, like, unupdate my Twitter account, but I want to pull this up and have the text in the corner, bro. So I'm like, Chill is able to do that, and I'm kind of jealous, but Bubble Maps posted this tweet. Arrow is 80% bundled, 200 wallets funded by the same source, sniped the launch. Oh, that's rough. 200 wallets funded by the same source. I mean, it's not even like it seems like they didn't even really try. Currently the number 2 runner on Robinhood. And this is the thing. This was like the number 1 Robinhood runner for a while. So brutal. Got to kind of look into that and see, what's up there. But with that said, guys, we got a good show today. Let's do some housekeeping to start us off here. You already know what the deal is. It is 12:21 p.m. So we're going to start with the show today at 12:30. We'll have our first guest. 1:15, our second one, GM top fumbler. My boys, my gang in the chat. So what you got to do, guys, remember, follow MCG. We're here Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. And we're covering anything that's hot in crypto. Last couple days, hasn't been much going on. So it's just,
we're here to entertain you guys. So,
Yeah. If it keeps up like this, like I've said, I'm going to get the jester hat on. I'm going to start having for you guys.
We're the monkeys that are dancing for you. Yeah. Keep watching.
No, but normally high level alpha dense content Monday through Friday. So make sure you guys come and follow right there. Hit the follow. And as always, you got the quote tweet up today on MCG. It's going to be a short one today. We have a hard stop at 2 p.m. So just we'll rock it out real quick. But as always, go down here, find the quote tweet, give it a like, give it a retweet, and we'll be off to the races, boys. We appreciate you for hopping on today. With that being said, I think we're just going to cover some macro real quick. Josh has a GLMM trade he's in. If you want to cover that first or second, Josh, I'll let you kind of take the
maybe I'll rip through it real quick. Not a crazy trade, but just, I caught this epic move really nice on a DLIM. So this popped onto my radar and built a nice little tight range up in here on the second kind of pump that it had. And it's, ranged through that quite a bit. And it dropped out of the bottom, but you know what? I was actually not too worried about it because I think this epic thing has a chance to be a similar runner to Ansem. The Mando, if you guys remember, made 20 million on Bored Apes, traded them, sold like most of us should have, but he did. We didn't. And then basically the lore here is that he bought back like half of the floating supply of this token while it was down at 200-300K over a long time. He initially released it as like trying to just test out pump fun or whatever. And so the complete history is not here because this is the Meteor pool, obviously, and it was created after because the original pool is a Radium pool. Anywho, this is done quite well because it's actually ranged in my fairly tight range because I only have 6 SOL here in liquidity. So I keep the ranges a bit more condensed just so that my bins are a little more full rather than
that is a tight range,
spreading my liquidity out too much. But not bad. It's done pretty
done
well.
Nice in that range. Like that is a tight range, and it's managed to stay in there for a good piece of it.
Hours, and I've already claimed out 2 SOL fees, so not bad. About 30% return in 22 hours. So we'll see if it ranges here. Ultimately, I actually think this will probably break out and go higher. But even if it doesn't, and I sell down here, I'll still be in a solid profit because I've earned some of my fees. And what I've done with my fees, guys, is what I'll do is I'll come here, claim them, and I just roll them back in at in spot. But my original strategy was actually just spot on this, just to get as much liquidity in as I could, as there was a bunch of volume in throughout here. I would have exited on the last pump and reopened around here, but much wider. Yeah, reasonable feedback, and I may do that if it gets near the top of the range again, but Yeah, I haven't actively managed it, to be honest with you. I've just kind of just been sitting on it. But every time you do that, there's a fee, right? You pay, I think for this, a 0.05 SOL or something to enter a new position. So, only trying to do that if I'm at the top of the range. But yeah.
How often are you taking DLIM trades these days, Josh? Is it once a week, twice a week?
Man, this is the thing is as soon as I stop delimbing, I start losing money. So right now, delimbing really only. And then I was trading on Robinhood for a while, and I was in all the big memes that ended up pumping, but I sold them all before they went crazy. So that was kind of brutal.
Okay. Maybe it's
I will screenshot it, Crypto Jones. It's actually 0.05. So I don't know. Maybe I gotta check why.
I wonder if this is because on Solana you have to open accounts for new positions, if it's something you can refund potentially. But
it does refund, yeah. It actually does refund half of it, but some part of it is non-refundable. Anywho, the other one that cooked was Trump 2028. It had hit Friday night, and everyone was like off their screens, like partying and having fun, and there was no one LPing, and Asia was not awake yet. And so I cooked like 40% on that in like 20 minutes. It was crazy. And my percent returns, so right here it's 40%, but on Friday night when Trump 2028 dropped, because he made some announcement he was going to run again, which I don't even think is in the Constitution.
Oh, did he say that? That's so funny.
Yeah, he said it.
Yeah,
but
not in the Constitution.
Dude, check this. The APR was 2,500% in 24-hour APR. That's how many fees I was printing. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude. DLIM is the way, man. Wait till I get some automation for this, dude. Some bots that can just DLIM. Nonetheless, guys, Josh was clowning me earlier for this. Is this aura or was this gay? Be honest with me, guys. You guys have seen the kimchi trend. Was this aura or is this gay? I mean, that's the birds right there. That's the birds right there.
It's aura. It's aura. It's aura.
I don't know. It's kind of gay. It's kind of gay. It's kind of aura. The question
Where did you get the picture on the Ferrari is what's funny about it is not an actual car, which if you're sitting on a supercar like that, I'd be that's pretty gay. But like
this is actually from Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi.
Oh yeah, all Abu Dhabi.
They have some insane Ferraris in there though. I should have done that with I don't know.
I will say I'm a millennial, so we did the long shorts thing. Like, the shorts would be kind of at the knees, but this generation has gone back to the 80s. Like it used to be an 80s thing where your shorts would be like mid-thigh, kind of like that. So yeah, it's funny that's come back.
Well, dude, I'm sitting down, dude. I'm sitting down. Like my shorts go down to probably around, a little above the knee here normally, but yeah. I know it's a little gay, guys.
This is another thing is the millennials. We got into ankle socks. That used to be like the whole thing, the whole bit. And then this Gen Z's come through and they're like, nah, fuck ankle socks. We're going to like the high socks. And now I can only wear high socks. I wear ankle socks. I'm like, man, why are people looking at my ankles? Like,
yeah, dude. I don't know. Ankle socks are rough. I also have like a tan line. From high socks, so like if I'm wearing ankle socks, it just looks so retarded. But all right,
this is aura. This is aura, though. This is aura.
Josh was clowning me pre-show on this, guys.
No, not at all.
Nonetheless, forget about that. Let's talk Blockworks. Let's look at hype, man. I want to look at hype numbers real quick, and then we'll get into again. We got like 1 minute till we pull up Arrow, but let's see, because I feel like the revenue is probably down. Total revenue. Yeah, I mean, slowly. Let me see weekly.
I mean, this one, I remember when you said, but there's competition coming, and there was. I mean, I think now we're starting to see the competition coming for sure.
Yeah, lighter. I'd be kind of shaking my boots a little bit if I was Hyperliquid. I mean, the partnership with Robinhood is pretty big. But here, so let's see. Bitcoin on the day, we're just still in this range. We've talked about this plenty of times. Like I don't feel like rehashing it. I don't think we need to. No. But we're still in this range. DCA is probably best to be on if you guys have like a steady check coming in, a little bit just going towards Bitcoin every day, every week, every month, whatever it might be. ETH, of course, still the strongest out of the major three, Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. Question of the day on our stream, is Solana going to hold $60? I think, I don't know. I hope so. Yeah.
The kimchi thing's got everyone riled up because he's in his video. He says, stable 295, and then he says damn near or something like that. And it's just like pure talk about aura farming. This guy's just aura farming that he stabled a full bag at 295.
I mean, this is brutal. We hit $60 and Solana was trading at 300, bro.
Oh,
like you forget how much money. I mean, it would have been 4 or 5x the amount, right? So if you have $10,000 in Solana right now, it would have been 50,000 at the top. Man, you forget like people, if you're trading on Solana often, like we were, you're changing the money from, like, let's say you're bidding Dogecoin or whatever, or Dogecoin's maybe a bad example, but whatever, you're bidding a Solana coin and you're exchanging it for Solana, and you think that's your stable asset that you're going to be comfortable in, you're not going to lose too much on, and you're down, I mean, from the highs. I did not stable a lot of Solana. You're down from the high 75%. Oh my gosh. It sounds worse when you look at it and think about it, it's worse than when I look at my portfolio, because it's been such a slow grind with Solana down. It feels like, I don't know, but
nonetheless,
down 75%. Josh, Galaxy is down a little bit. Any words on
that?
Of course, we're gonna
Galaxy is just getting killed, and I don't know exactly why. I'm trying to figure it out because they signed another agreement to build a data center beside SpaceX's Merlin engine factory, which is kind of interesting. Another 500 megawatts. I just, the execution's there. I don't know why the stock underperforms. It just does. But I also think the data center trade is kind of on hold right now. But we had notable news, Meta and BlackRock doing a $10 billion, $14 billion data center, 1 gigawatt. So anyways, long story short, it's just not the AI infrastructure moment right now.
Do you think this is a DCA zone?
Yo, absolutely. Like, if it's what, $8 billion now, $7 billion market cap, and half that is in cash and crypto.
That's crazy.
Of their market cap, and then the other half is a thriving crypto business and a potentially $70 billion data center fully built out. So I just think the market just doesn't care.
Asleep at the wheel, as they say. Nvidia is holding up here. Okay, Tesla's on a dip, big dip here for Tesla. Robinhood has started to come back a little bit. We'll see if it takes another leg lower. Again, if I get Robinhood down here, I'll be like a kid at Christmas. We got Circle at all-time lows. Again, crypto companies are...
I'm fading Circle though.
Yeah, Circle's a fair fade. Again, we had that conglomerate come together. I forget exactly what it's called, but yeah. OUSD, where we have a bunch of companies using this. I think Coinbase is maybe even departing from Circle, or Circle's departing from Coinbase at some point. For me, that's like a 6 to 12 month down the road thing. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Circle. I was bullish. I don't know. I have to go look at their numbers again. I haven't been following too closely. Everything else, though, I mean, we see Mag 7's green.
Oh my gosh,
this is insane. This is insane considering Apple's so far behind on like the AI race right now. It's just performing so well.
Like my dad in his AI or his Apple portfolio.
Oh my goodness.
Clowning on my crypto portfolio like crazy.
I mean, look at this. I wish crypto would look like this. So it's just, I mean, it's up only. I mean, oh my goodness, brutalization here for crypto holders right now. Meta's Microsoft's all right. All right, we're not going to get too caught up there. But with that being said, guys, we're going to jump over to our next segment. We got the Arrow team in the back rooms. Again, one of the leaders on Robinhood since the early days. So like my question here becomes, what was the relationship like with Robinhood or with, anyone there in terms of launching? You guys are so early to launch. Of course, we're going to talk about what Arrow does. We're going to talk about some of the bundling accusations, like what are the 200 wallets there? And so just get the full scoop here. So it should be interesting, where we go from here, next steps. I think I did see they also brought on like a pretty notable advisor at some point. So, just talking through all of this and getting the full scoop for you guys is going to be fun. So we got Adam and Ash coming up right now. Welcome to the stage, guys. How are you guys doing?
Hello. How's it going, guys? Hey guys, how's it going?
Thanks for having us, first of all.
Of course. GM, how's it been for you guys? Been a pretty hectic couple weeks, I'm sure.
I mean, outside of the fact that I probably haven't slept in 2 weeks, it's it's been good, man. We've been burning the candle at both ends, but it's been a journey, and I think it's, with Robinhood right now, I think it's in this phase of a bit of a washout, where a lot of the projects that launched originally are kind of, have had their initial pump, and you're seeing where the teams are at after, things kind of, the dust settles a little bit. And so I think it's a good opportunity to kind of look around and see what teams are still there and who's building. So it's an exciting time, I think, in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And there were so many launches and so much hype on Robinhood. Separating the wheat from the chaff shouldn't be too hard, right? There's a few quality projects, and we've done conversations with a lot of them here on MCG, really just covering the entire Robinhood ecosystem. And that's largely the conversation I want to have today is like, is Era one of those investments that's, investable, that's maybe down, getting beat to the ground, along with the entire Robinhood ecosystem. And you guys are still cooking and chugging away. So that's, I think, largely the conversation today. With that being said, can you guys talk to me through what Dimes Square Advisory is? What's the relationship to Arrow?
That's me. So that's Ash. I'm the advisor that you mentioned. I don't know if I'm notable, but I've been working with the Arrow team over the past couple of weeks. Have sort of been in the fintech DeFi space for the past 5 years, both in crypto. Worked at Robinhood Crypto back in 2021 with some more I would say TradFi or fintech adjacent projects, work with the firm and on Meta's fintech team. So, I've been working with, just Arrow as well as, other projects in the space that are building on a Robinhood chain. So very excited by the progress over the past couple of weeks. I totally agree with Adam, just in terms of we had a lot of excitement early on, and it seems like now this is sort of settling into the build mode and just seeing how teams are going to keep shipping over time.
Got you. And maybe talk me through some of that experience you had at Robinhood Crypto in 2021. Obviously, crypto's in a largely different place than it was in 2021, but most people don't realize Robinhood's been focused on crypto deeply and building in crypto for a long time. People seem to think this is another corpo chain, fly-by-night situation. And we keep kind of banging the drums on the fact Robinhood's been really doing this for a little while. So maybe talk us through, I guess, some of that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined in 21, right before the IPO, right after GameStop, which obviously was a big moment for the company. I think it became pretty clear, in 21, you had the cycle was really hot. And I think there was a lot of, I don't want to speak, on behalf of, but just my perspective on that time, I think that there was a lot of sort of sense that the company at that time was falling behind in crypto, and that was where finance was heading. That was where the customer base was heading. And so I think the company made, a pretty deliberate sort of, took really deliberate steps to catch up. And so I worked with the team on the non-custodial wallet launch, which I would say was Robinhood's first crypto native product launch that, they had listed coins and obviously were a big centralized exchange, but they had never really sort of released a DeFi native product. And so I think at that time, that was when Robinhood Crypto sort of became formalized, and you had, Johan, sort of step into that leadership role. And I think where the vision for, what you're seeing now in terms of doing the L2 and being sort of a more active participant in the DeFi space sort of started. I think one thing that's interesting is I think that they, at least from my perspective, they really sort of took their time to kind of look and see where the market was going. I think with the base launch, they obviously focused on a different set of priorities that are kind of more aligned with that Web3 thesis. And, obviously the social and sort of consumer elements. I think with Robinhood, they kind of saw where things were going. And then with, a lot of the regulatory clarity last year with the Genius Act, kind of realized that tokenization in DeFi was, where the market was ultimately going to head. And I think that's, where you sort of see that positioning today, and heavily leaning into that RWA thesis. But I mean, again, that's sort of my perspective on on where they've been. I've obviously been outside of the company for a few years.
Yeah, I mean, and that largely ties into, at least from what I'm understanding, the thesis that Arrow's kind of going for here with
Yeah.
the tokenization of everything conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we start talking about that a little bit. We have seen, I think this year massively, just the emergence of tokenization. Hyperliquid's been a super strong proving point of this, I think, with gold, with oil, and especially, during the wars and the conflicts. The only place to trade these over the weekends when there was extreme volatility was on Hyperliquid. And we saw this proliferation of tokenization. I think that's when it really started sticking for people. Okay, this is really, really valuable. Of course, Robinhood notoriously offered some private equity on chain as well, with SpaceX, I believe, pre-IPO, and a few others. So with that being said, like, they're largely, I think, Robinhood's clearly focused on the tokenization of things, tokenization of equities and whatnot. Seems like this is your thesis. Maybe talk us through what you guys are seeing on the ground level and what that thesis is.
Yeah, sure. Ash, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, I think what's really cool, from Robinhood's perspective is, the idea that obviously in the US you have really liquid markets for equities, but globally that's not necessarily the case. So there's like the immediate opportunity of, I think through the stock tokens product, to be able to sort of offer, access to US equities, which is obviously like the deepest and most desirable equities market, globally. I think what's interesting is, also what you're seeing where they're moving into sort of asset classes that haven't necessarily been available to investors in the US that aren't registered, right? So like these private company stocks, like the Robinhood Ventures Fund. They just did an announcement yesterday on Ventures Fund 2. So starting to like get US investors access to some of these, early stage startups that are, typically only available to sort of VCs and like accredited investors, which is really cool. And then I think, with the L2 as well, right, is thinking through like what are some of the bespoke asset classes or even like novel asset classes that aren't really available to like who you'd think of as like the typical retail investor or Robinhood investor. And like how can we sort of like create this ecosystem that provides access to those asset classes? And, at least from my vantage point, I think the opportunity, like there's so much, like it's such a massive TAM in terms of like what that could look like. But, just right now it feels like focusing on the infrastructure that's going to enable that. And so like with Arrow, obviously that's sort of the lending infrastructure, which, is necessary for this ecosystem to thrive. It feels like the play, but it's just exciting to see like what more could come online and like what kinds of new sort of asset classes and opportunities will be available.
Ash, I want to ask you before we get into the loans. I want to ask you about a different asset class, which is this idea that projects may launch on Robinhood chain, maybe say virtuals or others. They may mature as kind of these really early stage startups. But do you see a world where they go, let's say, first launch, developer creates a novel business, it starts to take off. Then there's, raising capital at certain milestones. And then does that, translate into one day being kind of uplisted on the stock market and further on into the Robinhood app? Like, do you see a world where, Robinhood chain and some of these kind of really, really, really early ideas start there and then become actual businesses and go through the more traditional, capital formation routes? Yeah,
totally. I mean, you guys mentioned Hyperliquid, and I think one of the most interesting, things about their success is they did it without sort of VC dollars or going through like the traditional path of having to rely on this like escalating sort of tier of, capital markets participants to like, raise from VCs and then look at like late stage investors and then think about like an IPO where you work with investment banks to like list on a US exchange. I think it's like a really exciting opportunity to see what kinds of projects can, raise capital organically without institutional investors, kind of access like a broad base of capital, build traction with the community, market through purely digital channels and scale to valuations that might look pretty astonishing, right? Like when you kind of factor in that there hasn't been like a traditional capital raise. So I think, I mean, I can't speak for the team, but I think it's very much part of the vision and true to the ethos of democratizing access, right?
And Adam, maybe you could even give us a quick answer or get your thoughts here. I'm not sure if this was your decision or what, but how did you and Ash meet each other? How did the Arrow team find or meet Ash, and then what was the thinking behind bringing him on board?
Yeah, so I've been in the space for about 5 years now, doing business development, working in sales and marketing for the last 14 years. So I've just kind of been, I guess, typically working on a more of a consulting basis, and then the Arrow team, just through the cult of crypto, was able to bring me in. And in terms of Ash, you'd probably be better to speak on
totally
advisory and stuff like that. But
yeah, honestly, I was just sort of looking for knew that the launch was coming and saw it as an opportunity to sort of position, at least from my perspective of wanting to advise early stage founders and teams in crypto and fintech. I'm just bullish on the Robinhood chain ecosystem and wanted to find utility projects to partner with, and the opportunity to partner with Arrow presented itself. And I've worked in lending before, with a firm which is in the TradFi fintech BNPL space, and just have a strong bias towards credit and lending businesses. I think they tend to be really high margin and really successful over time. And so, it's still early days, across the spectrum with Robinhood chain, but I think if it's going to succeed, having viable credit infrastructure is kind of like a necessary condition for that success, right? And right now, Arrow seems to be one of the only projects that's really building, a native CDP for the Robinhood chain ecosystem. And so, it's a easy decision.
Got you. And then kind of walking through, I guess, timeline here, you guys were very early to launch. And for the longest time, or for a good period of time, you guys were the leaders, one of the first tokens, one of the leaders on the Robinhood chain, definitely for utility, at least. With that being said, what was obviously you guys knew this chain was coming. What were the steps that were taken beforehand? How long had this project been worked on prior to leading up to launch?
Yeah, so the project's been, kind of in the ideation phase for probably the last 6 months. The team definitely knew, they kind of had the overall concept, like the background of the team, or they're a bunch of DeFi kind of OGs. So they've always kind of participated in lending markets, and this is with Robinhood coming up, they saw a huge opportunity in terms of tokenized equities and building something native to Robinhood. So the project's been in development for months. But it's kind of been, it was more of an amorphous being before the actual launch. And I think once Robinhood kind of came into the picture, they were able to kind of take this, the structure of the project and really build it from the ground up around the Robinhood ecosystem and chip away at it. So it really made sense with tokenized equities. So it's kind of hard to answer exactly, but it's like something that's been built over months, but then kind of came to fruition within probably the last 2 months leading up to the launch on Robinhood. And I think the CDP piece of it is one of our biggest moats. It's not technology that's really easy to replicate. I think everyone's seen a million launch pads go up in the last couple of weeks. And if you look at the actual the framework of a CDP, there's a lot of things that come into play. You have oracles for every single tokenized equity for pricing, and you have the different LTVs on the lending markets that we've custom created. So there's a lot of complexity in the platform itself that we're excited about. I don't think it's going to be easy for anybody else to fork or just kind of copy themselves. So we're excited about what's been built, and we do see a pretty clear path forward in terms of the lending markets. Like looking across what Robinhood currently has on offer, there's definitely a bit of an open playing field in in what we're building right now. So.
Got you. Yeah, no, I totally agree here. One last question before we get into, like the nitty gritty of the product here, but I want to know, just to get in your head for a second, how you guys think about DeFi. Obviously, we as crypto natives understand what possibilities DeFi can unlock in the future. It looks like it looks super bright. And we've seen, the Genius Act pass, and we're starting to see some legal clarity, which has really been helpful. So if I had to kind of get in your shoes for a second here to really, understand the vision, mantra, idea of Arrow here, I'd be curious to see what you guys think about DeFi and where you think we're headed, just in the broader grand scheme of things.
Yeah, sure. Ash, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at least from my vantage point, look, I think when I think about DeFi, I feel like the opportunity has been really clear for a long time, right? Like going back to 2017, 2019. I think what we've been missing is just, and I think you put the nail on the head, is that regulatory clarity that makes it possible for just like a broader swath of market participants to start experimenting with products and tools that I think crypto natives have already been able to get a lot of value out of. And so I think this is kind of the lens for Dime Square Advisory, at least my background, is we're less sort of in the trenches and more sort of institution adjacent, right? And I think the real opportunity for us is being able to sort of like with kind of that more like I want to say like TradFi fintech audience is to like make the DeFi opportunity more compelling and sort of spotlight the projects that like are like integratable, I guess, with fintech and TradFi. And so I do think, I think the opportunity is there. I do think regulatory clarity is coming, like whatever FUD there is around the passage of the clarity bill, like something will get done at some point. And so I do think that, the setup is really bullish. I also think that it's like, I think for the past 2 years, and I kind of heard your segment leading into this, there's just been so much focus on like AI CapEx and that like the AI trade kind of being where like that growth investor, like that incremental unit of capital has been like really focused on. And so even though the setup for crypto has been, I think, pretty good since November 24, like it just hasn't really been like the hot narrative, so to speak. And so like, it's a little still early to see like if we start seeing a capital rotation, but I think like if we start to see like like a rebalancing or like a rethinking of like where's that excess capital going to go, I think that like in general, I feel like DeFi, like it's a great opportunity for DeFi, and it's a great opportunity for some of these corporate chains, obviously, especially including Robinhood Chain.
I think on top of that, you have Robinhood for years now. It's really been build a DeFi protocol and then market the crap out of it to get retail to come. And I think with Robinhood, the thing that's so special about this ecosystem is retail is already there. There's already millions of users on Robinhood. It's the first time that they can kind of turn on the faucet to DeFi rather than having to attract users the other
how do
way.
they do that? Is it a banner in their brokerage app saying, hey, crypto's great again, download the Robinhood crypto app and use our chain? And then Arrow Finance is listed as an application there of where you can spend your money. Like I understand the thesis. I've listened to all the interviews, but I'm still a little unclear of how it manifests this kind of funnel into DeFi.
I can speak to that. And like, I guess what I would say is like, I've seen that narrative a lot, and I don't disagree with it that like there's an opportunity to like bring the 27 million Robinhood customers on chain. I actually think like my perspective on it is that I think like Robinhood is just really good at building products, right? So I think like uniquely in crypto, I think like it's less about bringing those 27, and there are some of those tactics that they can do like in the main brokerage app to bring some of those customers on chain. But I think that they're just like very good at building products that 27 million people want to use. You know what I mean? And like have that kind of design first approach, and focus on the customer and focus on the community. I think they have a deep understanding of like why community matters. And frankly, like, again, not speaking for the company, but my perspective is that's probably been learned like the hard way in some ways from, you know, GameStop and like the earlier history. And so I do think that there's like a mentality of like let's build for the community and let's build for our customers and solve real problems for them, and like that will organically create a lot of growth. And so yeah, that would just be my perspective.
It definitely is going to see, you know, how, you know, there's different tactics to cross-pollinate those audiences or bring retail. And I'm curious to see kind of what the next steps are from Robinhood as well, in the next couple months, on how they're kind of merging those two universities together. But yeah, it's
so there's 20-30 million users. They come to Arrow Capital here. What are they doing?
So Arrow is really we see it as the lending liquidity layer to the whole Robinhood ecosystem. We're thinking big. So if they have access to, you know, these tokenized equities, which is what Robinhood is going big on, you know, our thesis is that those assets, as they sit right now, are relatively illiquid. I mean, the journey kind of stops when you're holding those. Obviously, you can have upside of something like tokenized Apple. But what we want to do is be able to allow users to unlock new liquidity and kind of drive capital efficiency for those different assets. So rather than simply holding on to that asset, they can come to our platform, utilize it as collateral, borrow against it, then engage in other DeFi activities, or they can even buy more, for example, Apple stock, and compound that investment and have greater exposure to those assets. You know, another big piece of this is every time you trade crypto, obviously there's taxable events that happen. So how do you work? How do you make your capital work better for you, rather than having to sell Apple to get another asset? You can hold on to it without realizing a taxable event, and then, you know, buy more of it. So
for traders who have tokenized stocks, they come to the platform, they put it on the platform and unlock some sort of, is it ETH, or do they unlock stable coins?
Yes. So we have our native stablecoin, AUSD. So has I guess a unique mechanism within the Arrow ecosystem. So they'd come to the platform with their tokenized Apple. They would borrow, they would deposit it onto the platform, and then they could get a % of the value of that back in AUSD. So for example, with stable coins, obviously those are the lowest volatility. So you'd be able to get anything anywhere of like 90% upwards of the value. Wow. Borrow against that. Or if you say tokenized equities, you could probably go a little bit lower to like 55% LTV on that. Obviously there's a little bit more risk there, but you can still get about 50% of the value of that, borrow against it. And what happens from there is AUSD is minted. And what we'll be doing is we'll be integrating that across different DeFi platforms in the space. So you can take AUSD and then go stake it on another platform, or you know, deposit it onto another platform for points or different yielding opportunities. And then you know, if you need to pay off the loan, you can or any of the debt, you can take the AUSD back to the platform and deposit that, which then burns AUSD. So that's the kind of minting and burning mechanism as one of the stability pieces to kind of maintain the peg.
Can you describe who's on the other side here? So who's providing the capital? Is it retail capital that they're saying, oh, here's my USDG, I want to earn a yield on it, and then other people are borrowing it? But who's the liquidity provider in this scenario?
Yes. So like I said, AUSD is minting and burning automatically as you're you know, depositing. So I guess Arrow would be the one that's providing the collateral. We're also looking at other third-party liquidity providers to, you know, add to different pools and things across the space so that we can have, you know, more depth and liquidity. But to start, we have this minting and burning mechanism. So the collateral would be minting AUSD.
And what's that AUSD backed by? Is this a white labeled stablecoin product, or can you maybe give us some more insights there?
Yeah, Ash, do you want to jump to that?
I actually don't have context on that, Adam.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So this, in terms of white label, are you asking if it's built by the team, or what's the question?
Yeah, so we know Coinbase has like a white labeled stable coin. Lots of people use these. There's a few of these cases out here. So I'm just wondering, is this like one of their products that you kind of reskinned a little bit? And what's like the underlying collateral of AUSD? Is this one-to-one
Oh yeah.
US dollars? Is this T-bills?
Yeah, so AUSD is built from the ground up within the Arrow ecosystem. We didn't fork it or white label it from another platform. It's an over collateralized asset. So like I was saying before, once users provide the collateral, they can only provide up to they'll only get like a certain LTV back. So the asset's already over collateralized by the tokenized assets, stable coins, and major cryptocurrencies. So the collateral it's over collateralized, which is backing AUSD.
Got it. I appreciate that. And I'm also curious to know your relationship in general with Robinhood. Obviously, Ash being former Robinhood employee, curious to know how they're looking at protocols like this. You mentioned earlier, Robinhood is great at building cool things, and obviously this ecosystem has proven to attract a lot of builders on the crypto side. We mentioned, how do we tap into the retail audience of 26 million? And then you guys mentioned, well, Robinhood has a lot of great builders. With that being said, like, what do you think Robinhood is thinking about these builders? How are they looking at the builders on the ecosystem from a support standpoint, from a just a general standpoint, I guess? Obviously, they're really interested in RWAs. They're really interested in agentic finance. We know this is very clear. It's been very clear, made very clear by Vlad and the team. So with that being said, like, what support should we expect from Robinhood? Or do you guys have conversations or communications with that team there? Curious your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Happy to speak to that. Obviously, not speaking on behalf of Robinhood, but I think my interpretation of how they're sort of thinking it is, they want to see, they have this commitment to this high level RWA fee, and that's where the focus is. But they also want to see what the community does with the technology and what that early adoption looks like, and sort of iterate in real time to the community needs, right? And I think you've kind of seen that with obviously a lot of the early adoption was in meme coins early on, and I don't think that you necessarily in terms of the signaling from Vlad, right? Like, it was less about sort of there was definitely like a desire to support the community with that activity, and sort of not necessarily like lay like a firm line in the sand that this is for RWAs and this is for like utility projects, right? Like, I think that there's sort of like a focus on if you're Robinhood, you have a ton of different business lines. Like, this is sort of, it's like, this is a bet that they're taking. Like, let's see where this goes. Let's see what builders sort of do with it, and like where we kind of see green shoots, like we'll double down and we'll support those green shoots like where we see them. Like, that's how I would think that they're approaching it, and I feel like that kind of mirrors Adam, you can speak to this from the partnership side, but at least in the conversations that I've been a part of with their team now, it seems like they're very keen to support builders in the ecosystem and be available as a resource to a lot of projects.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't want to, I guess, provide too much alpha or whatever is going we want to call it, but we are. First of all, I think Robinhood operates differently than your traditional Web3 companies. So like usually you'd be able to go on Telegram or Discord and get access to them, or go on X and shoot them a DM or whatever. But the Robinhood team is I'd say a lot more tight knit and kind of buttoned up than what you're used to. So there's really what you have to do is what we've been doing is working with Robinhood aligned partners to kind of prove ourselves from a trust perspective first. And that has led to us being able to have the right conversations with, in terms of building that trust over time. So that's all I can kind of say on that front, but it's very much a goal of ours to be kind of pulled fully into the Robinhood ecosystem folds. You know, if you go on their website and see kind of the launch partners that they've built around as the for their go to market for Robinhood chain, we want to be aligned with those guys, and we're very much talking to, and we should have you know, a few announcements soon for you guys to see who we're actually aligning with, hopefully this week or next.
Nice.
And,
so announcements this week or next. And we only have 10 minutes left. I want to rapid fire through a few things here. I see Launchpad in the top right. Can you just maybe quickly talk about that product and if that was kind of like your V1 and what you're working on today is a V2, or is this part of the product?
Yeah, I mean, the Launchpad is very much in its like V1 phase. I think it was, you know, the primary product for us was always the CDP, and we, you know, capturing the market hype like for the first couple weeks and in market share. We definitely, in seeing where Noxa kind of fell off, we saw an opportunity to fill the gap there with, you know, a trusted project and a project that was building long term. We wanted to plug that in, so that was more of an adaptive move from our end, and you know, we shifted focus to be able to capture that. But to be completely honest, you know, it's the market's completely flooded with launchpads right now. It's something that we're still actively developing, and we see a lot of potential there, but we're really you know, focused back on the bread and butter of the CDP. So I think that for us is something that can kind of more of a slow burn that can grow over time. But you know, users can launch a token there right now and invest, and it's a fully operational platform. And we'll keep you guys updated with comms around any future updates. But that's very much V1. The guys I know, I was chatting with the dev team, have some really unique ideas on how they can kind of position us in a bit more of a unique way in the market. Like you know, full transparency. The V1 is kind of has all of your standard features that you could expect from, you know, the likes of pump funds and other projects, kind of aggregated into a really slick UI. But the next phase of that is going to have more unique features, which I can't share right on this stream. So yeah.
No worries, but we do have a rule. If you start talking about the alpha, you got to finish. Can establish, this is a good question by Darth. Can established protocols like Aave easily extend to our, you know, Robinhood L2? Maybe how you look at different, you know, competition here, or is it kind of they're not there now and you're moving quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a bit. I'd say we are a first mover in that, and I think we already have market share. Like, we already have inroads with the right partners to kind of pull into the platform and integrate AUSD. So I think with anything in crypto, it is a huge first mover advantage. And I think the fact that we've built natively from the ground up for Robinhood and around tokenized equities, we have kind of a unique advantage versus somebody that's kind of just porting over from another chain. So I'm sure bigger players are gonna come, but I think that we have a clear path ahead. I'm not hearing any rumblings of any serious competition in the short term, and I think we'll always have a unique offering with the CDP. So we're definitely keeping an eye on where the newcomers into the Robinhood ecosystem are, but right now we're pretty confident in our position.
We have the metrics on screen right here. I want to spend the last 5 minutes talking about the token, but what is your revenue model, and anything you can just talk about growth, you know, how fast this platform is growing?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the revenue model, that'll be just kind of your standard taxes across the ecosystem. So whether that's you know, depositing or withdrawing from the platform, there'll be taxes that are collected. So the more volume that's pumping through the platform, obviously the more revenue we'll be receiving within the CDP platform. The mainnet is going to be launching in we're hoping the next week or two. We're just finishing audits with Sherlock DeFi right now, and that should be ready to ship. So in terms of the actual progress so far, we did like an alpha phase for the CDP on really small caps for the lending vaults, which filled out pretty much immediately over the period of a week. So we had really early signals that there was demand, and now we're really excited to kind of prove that with a more robust offering with the mainnet launch, which is more tokenized equities, more assets available, higher caps for the vaults and so on. So yeah, early days, the alpha went really well. And now I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll have a lot more data to share on progress after that's launched.
I want to talk token. Before we get into that, I want to ask real quick about DeFi risks. Obviously, 2026 has been brutal for DeFi. We've seen lots of hacks left and right for some, very, very large figures. How are you guys thinking about DeFi risks and just protecting users against those?
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said before, we're going through the Sherlock DeFi audit right now, and I'm sure the team will engage with other audits as we launch new features on the platform. But that's definitely a big focus for us. We've invested heavily in that. We want to make sure the platform's as buttoned up as possible. I'm not sure if you want to add any more context on that, Ash.
No, I think that all makes sense, and yeah, it's the Sherlock audit is I know is a core priority for the team.
Got you.
And then,
okay.
just one other thing there, just to chat about DeFi, or I think one other question people might have is what if Arrow depegs, or AUSD, that's happened before on other platforms. So just a quick run through on that. Outside of the kind of the minting and burning mechanism, we also have a stability pool. So users can, once they borrow AUSD, instead of investing in other DeFi activities, they can invest right in the Arrow platform into our stability pool and deposit there, in which they'll receive the liquidated collateral on the platform at a 10 to 15% discount. So they're incentivized to deposit into that. And for the AUSD deposited there, that's also covering liquidations on the platform. So that's kind of another layer to maintain the peg. And then one last piece of that is, if there is a slight depeg in AUSD, say if it goes just like a 1% down or so on, users can buy AUSD on the market and then deposit back into the platform and receive a 1-to-1 ratio on collateralized assets that cover the difference of the value. So you can pretty much arbitrage the AUSD back into the platform to maintain the peg, because when you deposit it, it's burned from the platform, and then it kind of brings it back to peg. So it's really like a three-pronged approach to protect AUSD. So just wanted to share that as well.
Copy that. Okay, we appreciate that. Darth Enfield just wanted to jump in with a quick note here. He said, per DeFi Llama, Morpho Blue is already on Robinhood with a TVL of 237 million. Have you guys seen this? Is this accurate, inaccurate? Maybe just any points on that before we jump.
Yes, so Morpho's already available there. I think that we don't necessarily look at those as competitors. There's other platforms, like for example, Morpho has different features that we can actually engage with. I don't want to share who we're talking to and having conversations with, but we're not in the mindset of that it's cannibalistic. I think there's a lot of synergies with similar kind of platforms that have crossover. So yeah, I don't see that as a direct competition to us. I think there's a lot of actually really interesting ways we could work together.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, you did mention you guys are speaking with some of the launch partners of Robinhood. I believe Morpho was one of those. With that being said, though, I want to talk about the token. You guys launched a token. How should we look at this token? Earlier, we started a discussion about private equity coming on chain. Some of the convergences between on-chain tokens IPOing at some point, people getting shares in companies. How should we think about the token in accordance to Arrow Finance's business?
Yeah, so Arrow is the kind of like the center of our, I guess AUSD is the stable center of our ecosystem, but obviously Arrow gives you exposure to our market fluctuations, and you can kind of capture the price, as we announce bullish updates and so on. That's obviously the market piece of it, which a lot of people invest in crypto for. But then you can also stake Arrow right now on the platform and receive yields on that. And then on top of that, it's our governance token. So in the next probably month or two, we'll be able to announce timelines. You'll be able to take that and stake it to get V Arrow, which will give you voting rights on the platform. So the more Arrow you hold, obviously the larger cut you have to make decisions and influence on the platform.
Got you. And I'm sure many of us saw this Bubble Maps report where I think it was 200 wallets had kind of gotten in And basically they claim this was 80% bundled by 200 wallets funded from the same source. Any word on that? Do you know who
Yeah, sure.
that bundle was?
Ash, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I mean, so just to start, like, obviously, external advisor, not super close to like treasury management decisions or anything like that. What I can say is like it's obviously not unusual for early stage projects to manage circulating supply while liquidity develops, and so it's only been a few weeks since the chain launch. We've seen capital rotate in and out of projects, especially in utility. And, there's obviously been a lot of volatility, which is to be expected. And so, yeah, I mean, outside parties are, all blockchain data is publicly available, and outside parties are able to sort of interpret that, which can support conclusions that may or may not present an accurate picture to the community. But I think, the team is very much focused on building for the long term, and as Adam's sort of covered, we've tons of exciting product momentum.
Got you. So potentially this bundle was treasury management. They're gonna maybe market make it, but unclear.
Yeah, I would say again, like, not super close to those treasury management decisions. I mean, it does seem pretty clear that there was that a few participants sort of sold off, and I think like we saw a lot of volatility and early on in in the launch, and obviously as more utility projects came online, just different places for capital to go. But again, I think the team's very, very focused on the long term.
Yeah, and I also think just in terms of the market price and full transparency, I think one of the things that may have hurt us is the launch of the launch pad, and like we felt at that time that we were capturing like a really good market share. There's only a few players, and then within a few hours, I think Bonk launched their launch pad, and then like we had a few other players that like literally entered the space hours before we deployed ours. So we felt like we were making a quick, agile move into that space, and we just want to be transparent on like challenges that we're faced, and I think probably maybe it took us away from the clear cut narrative of the CDP, which is our hero product, and maybe that caused I don't want to speak too much on price speculation, but I could say that like as an investor that can cause a little bit of confusion is like, who are you? And I think that the point for us now is to kind of redefine that and show users like what the CDP is all about, and obviously continue building on the launchpad. But a lot of our content incoming is going to be really hyper focused on what to get excited about on the CDP, which was our original vision, and kind of really pull things back into our biggest moat in Robinhood. So I think that did have probably a little bit of a price impact, but again, like Ash said, we're here to build, and excited to. I think there's a lot of rotation happening on Robinhood.
That's
like
true.
Even good projects are just and that's the hardest thing in being in BD. It's like your market cap is one of your best tools to market and build trust and so on. So I think the question is now just like who's going to continue to build. There's going to be other projects that are pumping right now that will come down inevitably because people will rotate out, and you just got to watch who builds through the blood a little bit, if you will. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I think it's accurate and some good reflections. Adam, Ash, we appreciate you guys coming on. This was a pleasure talking and getting a better understanding of what you guys offer over at Arrow. So we do appreciate you guys coming on.
Yeah,
thanks guys so much for having us. Yeah,
Good luck. Keep going.
We got it. Have a good one, guys.
All right, see ya.
All right. Quick takeaways, top level. I would say the most interesting part is like the launch partners piece. I think there, we're having active conversations with launch partners of Robinhood. We feel like that's the best way to build trust and get close to them. I guess everyone's kind of waiting for like, who does Vlad follow next? What does Vlad talk about next? So, maybe that's a catalyst to look out for, but it'll be interesting to watch this develop. They did mention this wasn't a new project. It's been worked on for about 6 months, ideated on for about 6 months. And yeah, it does seem like it's deeper technology. And I think the biggest risks you face here are, of course, like the DeFi risks, which we're seeing. I mean, it's very scary for a lot of people to just put money on just put money anywhere right now, frankly. So DeFi risks, I think, are the biggest things to be fearful about. And then like just more direction on generally like the value of the token. Are we investing in the company? We know governance tokens aren't, they haven't been the shining light they used to be, right? It's like no one really cares too much for governance tokens. So what is the value of holding the token? Why should we want to hold that? I think more clarity on that's going to be interesting. So those are my two big things I'd watch out for. And then the things that I'm bullish on are the clear conversations they're having with partners, launch partners of Robinhood. Clearly they have the relationships with Robinhood. Clearly, obviously Ash was ex-Robinhood employee, and yeah, they're working on some cool stuff. So I think like they're right aligned with Robinhood's vision of RWAs. And
yeah, you're making definitely, I think, team bet here on this one more than anything, but also metrics. I keep an eye on those metrics. If those creep up, that's another big tailwind.
Yeah.
But these protocols, they really start to print good revenues at scale and also gain trust at scale. So having 50K in a vault, you don't really become an attack vector, but if you are, got 50, 100 million, or can, prove that you've were able to manage that kind of AUM for an extended period of time, that's how you build trust. So
yeah, Crypto Jones even brings up a good point. He says, what do you think Arrow could do to gain trust from the crypto community, given they have a red flag with bundled supply? I will say the bundled supply definitely caused a lot of distrust, which is difficult to navigate as a DeFi protocol.
I mean, it is what it is at this
gotta
point,
keep
and
going
it's
for
kind of
model.
like max FUD. Like, could you get any more max FUD than what's already happened? So it just, you got to execute. You build trust through execution and growing and having a good product. So I think that's the only path forward.
Ain't that the truth? All right,
seems what they're focused on. Well, it would already be distributed now, so you can't really do that. I think it's already been distributed, but
yeah.
Anywho, nonetheless,
used for market makers or something.
Yeah, let's talk about let's tee up the next segment here. This is a Futardio launch.
No, GTR. No, GTR was virtuals.
Virtuals, okay.
Yeah. So GTR is a new trading platform. They've been working on this for a while. They had a pretty sick launch video kind of breaking down the platform and showing it off. So it is a trading terminal. I'll actually pull, why not? I'll pull that video up right now so you guys can see that play while I'm giving a quick introduction here. Gotta share tab. What's going on? Here we go. Okay.
Yeah, this is, guys, look, we talked about this on Robinhood, actually, the life cycle. You're in that phase, you're in that phase.
Indeed. Okay. Well, GTR Trade, it's a new trading terminal we saw launch. They've been working on this for a while. This was a pretty sick video, so props to the team there for putting this out. But everyone's been looking for the trading terminal that's going to dominate Robinhood. I mean, we saw FOMO was notoriously late on the Robinhood trail. I think GMGN is kind of the leading terminal right now. I know there's some Telegram bots that people are using out there, but outside of that, I mean, people are looking to really establish a native Robinhood trading terminal, if I had to guess, that really caters to Robinhood traders, has all the features, leans into the branding and narrative. With that being said, GTR may be this. And so I guess we're looking to figure out all the details, top to bottom. How long have they been working on this? What makes a good trading terminal? We know trading terminals are super high margin businesses, but how do you differentiate from the other ones that are already doing it at a super high level, like the Axioms, like the Photons, like the FOMOs? That's the big question. It's really hard to make a breakout trading app. So, let's see if they have the wherewithal to do it. I believe I would like to hear them say yes. So with that being said, let's pull up RC from the GTR Trade team and get this full scoop. Hey, RC, how's it going?
Hey everyone, good morning, gents, or good evening. I have a sore throat, but hopefully everything's sounding good there.
Sore throat? What's that from? Lack of sleep after launch?
No, I think probably lack of sleep and a lot of Red Bull.
There you go. Well, hopefully your sore throat heals, but this conversation definitely won't help that. But we're excited to get into everything that's being built here at GTR Trade. Could you maybe start us off at the top with a quick background on yourself so we can get to know you a little bit better before diving into it?
Yep, of course. Name's Rahul. I did my master's from UFI. Early part of my career, I built trading proprietary data for hedge funds. Usually what that means is you collect a lot of data from real world and provide it to hedge funds, and they probably do a trade based on that. Eventually, while still working, I went deep into trading, building my own bots, building my own trackers, snipers. If you remember anything like other side, other side BYC launch, I was one of the people who like sniped 10 of different NFTs in the beginning itself.
Nice. And that was because you built your own sniper for that, or?
Yeah, like I have been in the system and kind of building it for my own. This was like all 2020 and 2021, and then eventually I kind of realized I was about to head payments for Amazon, but I kind of realized maybe doing crypto makes much more sense, so I kind of came in full time.
And how is that pivot, not pivot, but how is the crypto, the choice of staying in crypto been for you?
It's fun. It's fun for sure. I mean, at the same time, I have been a trader for a long time. I kind of enjoy trading too much. So I have been part of groups like Rebirth, which is like an older group where like a lot of clever people used to be there, where we used to build strategize around how to play with markets. But eventually I kind of believe that building your own stuff is cool as well. Like that's why what I used to do at the product level. And then kind of we ended up building GetRabbit, which was like a very simpler app for retail. And then eventually the GetRabbit brand GetRabbit turned into GTR because it was like much simpler to say.
Got you. Okay, so there's some of the lore. I mean, and it's good that you have this trading background and this deep affinity for trading, because you obviously have to build a good trading app, know what the trenches want, know what the people want. With that being said, let's get into GTR Trade and what it actually is, what you guys offer differently. I think the biggest question that I have is, man, you have some behemoths that are established. Some of the quickest companies to go to $1 billion in revenue, was like Axiom,
Yes.
from YC, right? So with that being said, like, how do you compete with some of these big players that just have incredible funding, have incredible distribution, and basically first mover advantage? Maybe talk me through the GTR product and your thinking
I
there.
think that's a fair question as well. I mean, funny story, we were among like the top 10% of YC, but just didn't make the final cut. But yeah, of course, I mean, like you have to see all these businesses quite differently. If you see FOMO, it's like more towards how to make trading like super easy for retail. If you see Axiom, it's like little bit around more professional traders. Like you can bundle, you can snipe, you can split wallets. How do you snipe fast? There's like a very clean source right in the middle of it, which is like super retail friendly, but still like as you grow up, as you trade better, you can like have access to more and more tools. So that's why I feel like there is this perfect gap in between both of these products, where you can like just jump in, have access to all the simpler tools, but at the same time, if you want to like level up, you can like seamlessly do through the same app. You don't have to jump between different platforms.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think you have to do something unique. And you mentioned FOMO being really that retail focused, copy trading, social signal, whereas maybe Axiom, Photon are more prosumer, where you have those more advanced features. How do you walk that tightrope then? You said you think GTR kind of fits right in the middle there, where it's simple enough for retail to get a hold of it and understand it and really use it, but also advanced enough to where you have those prosumer traders kind of coming and using your product. How do you walk that tightrope? Because it's not an easy one to
Yeah, definitely. And we spend a lot of time kind of designing it. Like, how do we design it in a perfect way where it makes sense for like all group of users? So what we have kind of done is like when you go through either the mobile app or desktop, you will see a lot of things are simpler. But if you dig deep, you have access to like a lot of crazy tools. For example, like if Trump tweets there is something going on with war, you kind of get that message like within like 1 to 2 seconds, and you can like instantly click buy, and you don't even have to set up like how much BTC you want to buy, what's the leverage, what's the price. You just hit one button and executes the trade for you. But if you don't want all that, like the entire experience is like quite simplified for it to work.
Got you. Okay. And so maybe walk me through some of the features as a trader that you think traders really want to see that maybe some of the other trading apps don't offer necessarily.
Yes, of course. I mean, like the key part we are focusing on due to launch, we have like lot of users come in. We are kind of making our tech stack and like the database more robust, which essentially kind of means in dumb words is like when more users come in, if we announce a trade competition, the system is able to handle it. But if you just go through, you have the app open. If you just go through terminal, just click the terminal on top.
Okay.
Yeah, you have like a lot of things going over here, but you can also trade it in a very simplified way. But at this terminal level as well, if you can see on the right side, any news which happens, you can like instantly trigger anything around quant. Imagine some news dropped which is about to nuke all market. You just have to press the nuke button. Like your every position across crypto vanishes. Or suddenly some crazy news comes out, let's say Clarity Act, and you know everything's going to pump. You just hit the ape button. Like whatever money you have, it will like instantly deploy in the market. Like there are like a lot of small tools built which are custom built for the only reason of trader being like extremely profitable.
Got you. Okay, so this news too, it's not necessarily. I mean, I see Ansem on here, I see Trump on here. This
Yeah.
news is going to be a little mix between traditional finance and crypto, it seems. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But if you already know something around FOMO FC is going to happen, you can put it on the search tabs like FOMC, and whenever the results come in, you will be like the first to know. Like if you see on the left bar, there is like a search bar.
Right here.
Yeah, if you just type FOMC, you will kind of instantly get whenever something like FOMC happens.
Okay.
And this is like much more fun in like the mobile app side where you kind of get notifications where it's like doesn't matter wherever you are, you can like quickly execute a trade.
Got you. Are you guys offering perps as well? I mean, I see
Yes.
the order books
Yes.
here.
Yep. You can trade perps, you can trade stock perps, you can trade RWA, forex, anything you need, and you don't have to worry about like balance. It like seamlessly through the app. It will just go from one asset class to another asset class. Like we take care of everything. No worry about gas. No worry about Solana gas, Robinhood gas. Like everything is like taken care of.
Got you. So this is multi-chain. What chains do you guys support?
We do Solana, Robinhood, Arbitrum, Monad, and probably a few more. Like if interest picks up.
Okay. Makes a ton of sense. So what's the reception been like? Obviously, you guys had a pretty successful launch. You guys launched via Virtual's Launchpad, if I'm correct. What did that launch look like? How was that for user growth and bootstrapping, like initial distribution here?
Yeah, that was kind of amazing. We only track users who have actually deposited money. We had like a lot of users come in which was around 6,000 to 7,000, but we had like 800 of them depositing money, which is like a great ratio considered like how app downloads goes. And we are like just scaling up so that each of these users who have newly come in, they have like an amazing experience.
Okay, got you.
Yes.
And do you have any
Sorry.
metrics on volumes or?
Yep. I think we have done around, just in the past 2 days, we have done around 80K to 150K volume, depending on different markets.
Got you. And what's the feedback been like? Is there any feedback that you guys have taken, started iterating on? Anything that's been good, bad, all that?
Yes. I mean, like the coolest feedback has always been we have like few users who had trouble selling tokens which crashed, but they were like pretty supportive in case they said it doesn't matter, we will figure it out, and you can build it. Of course, there were some guys who were like pretty angry, as in like why the token is crashing, why the price action of token is so bad. So it's like a complete mix of people like reaching around. And we had like quite a unique launch on virtuals. Like how we plan to design it is like we kept it like super simple, where anyone, it doesn't matter, like you, me, or any retail can like join the project at like a very early level. There are like no bundles, there are like rarely any there is like zero team sniping, there is like zero bundling, there is like no early CA. Like it's like pretty clean, as clean as it can go.
I got you. Let's maybe start pivoting to like go-to-market strategy here. Something we talked about at the start of this conversation was, man, how do you compete with these giants who just have so much money to throw at marketing, that are testing on all different platforms? You know, when you think about your go-to-market strategy, what's the rollout look like for that?
Yep. We have already started deploying capital for like the user generated content across TikTok and Instagram. I feel like there are like a lot of set of users who will come from those areas who maybe don't understand crypto as well, but they will definitely understand long SanDisk, long Micron, or long Nvidia. Right. So we have started deploying over there, but at the same time, I feel like token itself is one of the biggest marketing venture. As in, like if you pick any project from the last 5 years, the good ones, like let's say My Lady Mint or the BYC, they took time to mint out, but eventually they were super successful because a lot of community got in early and they were able to ride the success. They become like the natural market makers, they become like the natural organic supporters, how it happened. Whereas I feel like a lot of projects in the past 3 years do like an inverse launch. Inverse launch probably means like you take the market cap of a token like super high, and from there you let it bleed, so that the team and VCs are happy, but as a user, there's like nothing much to be made. And I feel we are like at a very interesting time in crypto where no one is doing it. That was like a primary reason we went for this kind of a launch, where even now the token is barely at minimum million, and you can have like $5,000 and you can have like 1% of the supply. That's like a deliberate decision where we feel over time, when Robinhood gains more and more prominence, uh, the users will kind of do like the natural marketing for it. But at the same time, like all the usual marketing tricks, which is like spending money on UGC, spending money on Instagram, spending money on TikTok, having few people aligned. We are launching clans and referrals next. What does clans do is it allows you to bring in lot of your followers, and as and when your followers trade, like you all make more money, you kind of get either a 50% discount, or the clan leader can take the 50%, which kind of promotes people to bring their followers. And similarly, we are planning to have a trading competition which should like get more and more users. So I think like it's an amazing time to build on Robinhood. Of course, Robinhood has its own a cycle where a few days ago it was like super hyped up. Today it feels like little bit of purge is going on. But apart from that, I think overall in the long period of time, it should be like quite fun.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see the stats come out from FOMO showing that I think majority of their users are actually not from crypto Twitter, rather they're from TikTok, Instagram, and other venues. I think there's a lot of trading apps that are just not doing a great job at tapping into anything outside of CT. So it's
Yeah.
good to see that you guys have like a UGC campaign going and you're kind of thinking in that direction. With that being said, I want to talk a bit more about roadmap. Actually, before we get into that, let's talk about business model. How does your business model work? Do you guys take a small basis point fee on every trade?
Yes.
Maybe walk me through some of that.
Yes. So what we kind of do is it's pretty adaptive, as in like if you are a trader who has been in platform for a long time, you kind of get cheaper fees. But at a high level, you can kind of think 0.25 to 0.5% on perps, which is like much on the cheaper side. And at the same time, if you hold GTR tokens on the platform, you kind of only pay 0.25 percent fees on chain, whereas like I think the market average is around 1%.
Got you. Okay, and you mentioned holding GTR token is also beneficial for in-app traders. With that being said, let's talk about like how you guys see the GTR token play a role in the ecosystem. Am I holding private equity in the company?
Yeah.
Is this for discounts for power users? How
No.
should we look at the GTR token?
Yeah, I mean, like right from scratch, how the token has been defined. Maybe it will be a failed experiment or it will be an amazing experiment. It's like yet to be known. But how everything is structured and designed is to be max retail or trader friendly. Which what that means is no one can come and say tomorrow that you guys farmed us and just dumped on top of us, and no one can say that this was a governance token. We don't own anything. Or imagine if tomorrow we get acquired by someone, it will be like every redistribution will be directly done to token holders. It won't be equity holders will be treated different, and token holders will be treated different.
Okay, can you talk me through maybe some of the benefits of being a token holder then?
Yes, of course. I mean, at the highest level, like there are like lot of app benefits, as in, um, 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 like when you will get early access to clan, which allows you to get more and more followers earlier through your own referral. But at the same time, if you hold more GTR, your fees are lower. If you hold more GTR tiers, we will have a section where your news will come faster. You will have faster notifications of news. Otherwise, it will be a standard feature. But more on that, what we will directly tie is like, however, over time, like the more and more revenue or the more and more money GTR makes, it will be like directly tied to the token.
In what sense? Is that like dividended back to token holders or?
Yes. Yeah, kind
Okay.
of depends. I mean, it's quite an interesting time to be honest. Like with Clarity Act passing, you kind of have like a lot of leeways.
Right.
about how you want to perfectly structure it. You can also do it based on dividends. You can also do it like a direct burn back, or you can do a buyback, like whatever path you choose. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. A very good section of your revenue goes directly into impacting the token and helping the token users. It's like kind of owning a business.
Okay. Well, that's a good note. Do we have a hard number on what that percentage is going to be? Is it 20%, 50%, 70% of
Yes, it should.
fees?
It should probably start with 40%, but as we grow more and more and more, you will probably see it end up around 70 to 80.
Okay. Very good. I like that. With that being said, let's talk about roadmap. You guys just launched. User acquisition has been pretty good here. You got some momentum at your backs and winning your sales. Where do you guys go from here? What's number one on the roadmap for you guys?
Yeah, we will be releasing referral and clan program maybe in 2 days. We are just like stress testing it so that it works perfectly. And eventually, once the clan is through and a lot of people use the referral programs, we are going to do a trading competition, which is you trade well, do a lot of volume. If you have PNL, you probably have a snatch at a reward for 5,000 or 10,000 US dollars. These are like a short term goals, but on a more longer term goals, what we have in plan is we also have been deploying, or it's nearly complete, which is called a one click launcher. Imagine there's like a certain news by Elon Musk and you want to launch a meme coin. You can like directly do it through mobile or like mobile or desktop, wherever you are. So a lot of interesting features, and we will probably not be building it on our own. What I mean by that is, I think what work is done by Pond's team is like really amazing. So there is like absolutely 0 point to build like more and more launch pads. But what we'll probably do is like when imagine you see a Trump tweet, the program will kind of split out all the words for you, which can be turned into a meme coin. And you just hit the button like launch, and it will either do it through Meteora or either do it through Pawns, depending on what chain you choose.
Got you. All right. Very cool. Is there anything we missed today that you guys want to just make sure you touch on, leave people with in regards to GTR?
Yes. I mean, like more and more, like this is one of the funniest experiments which are being conducted right now, where it's among the only trade terminal which is kind of live. We also will have partnership with more Robin Hood aligned. If I could share, just say like it should be like more Robin Hood aligned perp exchanges. But like this is amazing experience for you to have like much more deeper say into how the product does, what the future roadmap looks like, have like a deeper say, whereas like all our competitors are like doing the same old playbook, which is take the FDV as higher as you want, and then eventually you do a launch. This is like an inverse, like how Hype did it. Like it's like available at $3, it will probably remain at $3 for a while, and then things starts looking up.
Got you. And you mentioned, some Robinhood aligned businesses in terms of like the perp side. Can we expect a lighter partnership to be announced pretty soon?
No, I don't. I'm not sure. I don't think so. Probably can't comment, or doesn't make sense.
All good.
Yes.
Question from Duster here, one of our community members. Yep. He mentioned, curious to hear about the connection with Unipix. Obviously, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Unipix has been endorsing this on Telegram, maybe even on Twitter. Is there a relationship there? How did he get introduced to this project?
Yes, I mean, again, so first of all, this is not a paid partnership. Second of all, how should I put it? I feel like a lot of pressure is being put on different people. Like why did you buy GTR, or why you have GTR access? But more on the lines, even GTR's ex investors or current investors are all people who have done like really well, or are like really entrenched into the system. So all of them are there to just support, and they kind of look at the long term roadmap versus like the short term fluctuations, and they are just in for the long term. And it's like our job to make sure like every one of them are happy.
Got it. All right. Well, we appreciate you talking today. This has been a pretty interesting conversation. I want a Robinhood native terminal to win. For the Robinhood people, I want someone to say, hey, I'm bridging to Robinhood. Where should I go? And then maybe GTR trade is like that first option, rather than like a GMGN or a FOMO, who seems to have been kind of late to the move here. So appreciate this conversation. We'll be keeping eyes on the platform, and best of luck to you.
Yep. Thank you so much.
All right. Chat soon. Peace. All right. Josh, I kind of took it there. Anything you want to comment on?
No comments on that project specifically.
All right, Crypto Jones. An interesting vertical would be to have a social bot trading integration into a terminal like this. Like, if so, am so tweet, but this token. Dude, I have no idea. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I have no idea what that question is or comment.
Like if so am so tweets, but if that's probably
Okay.
spell corrected
If
to
this,
Ansem.
then
Like if Ansem tweets, but this token. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We got there, Crypto Jones.
Yeah. Generally, yeah.
Speaking of which, we actually do have a little something to cover regarding the Ansem ecosystem. I don't know if you see in our chat there. I can pull it up, but it'll be it won't be dark mode.
Our chat
Green room.
Okay, yeah, I can pull it up. Yeah.
Oh, buy this token if but the White House did tweet about whatever it was, the raccoon, and it was like just crime. Okay, so this want to let you guys know that the Solana community grew Ansem. Now Blinkos is funding Solana Builder community. Basically, this is like a hackathon or some sort of builder event for the Ansem token. And then there are some notable people who are friends of the show, Claw Pump Tech, and I believe Squire also contributing to this. And yeah, I think there will be more information to be released soon, but basically adding utility or things to do with your Ansem tokens is kind of what I gather from this. So if you want to participate or you're a builder and want to do something for the Ansem token or integrate it, if you already have a product and want to integrate it, the best thing you can do, I believe, is to DM Bunny.
Yeah, we'll be covering this for sure. We'll probably have some of the contestants on the show and whatnot. So yeah, tag us in another Claw Pump tweet. Josh, I'm not sure if you'll see that tag, but we do have a hard stop here coming up, guys. So we're not going to sit on here and chat too long, but anything you want us to cover or check out, I'll pull up the Robinhood Eco real quick. Obviously, everything's bleeding, so it's a rough look. I'm going to pull up. Let's see what Credible is looking like. How's Credible looking? Holding up pretty well. What about Cars? Recent MetaDAO Futardio launch. Okay. Right here.
There it is.
Okay. Starting to hold pretty steady here. I forgot how much there is. 250K, I believe. 250K raise. Trading at 1.1 million. I mean, so it's up since launch.
Here,
MetaDAO Eco is doing pretty decent.
I'll pull up honestly the most decent on Solana for sure. Let me see the raise.
Meteor's looking good. Pump Fund's looking good on a bit of a pullback today. As expected, though, off a couple pumps. Of course, Claw is up on that announcement. I wonder what Squire's. Yeah, Squire's is up as well. Jeez, $1 million market cap, though. This is taking a deep pullback. I mean, Solana ecosystem right now is just utility-wise in a friggin' deep pullback. Man, it's so scary because you are like, this is not the market to hold. You can't hold even good projects. The question is, do these good projects come back, right? Does the Solana market come back and do these projects all bounce, or do they all kind of just bleed infinitely to zero? And that's the difficult thing right now as a trader trading on Solana. It's not necessarily that there's like a lack of good projects and good opportunities to trade on. It's that even the good projects might all just bleed to zero over time because of the nature of the game, which is, makes it very difficult.
Yeah, I'm trying to honestly on Futardio find the. Oh no, this was MetaDAO, actually one of their curated launches. Let's see, cars. Basically what I'm looking for is just how many. What is circulating here?
Okay, yeah, go to O1 Resolve. You'll be able to find all that information.
Okay, yeah.
In the meantime, though, yeah, we'll take a look at macro. Generally, Let's compare lighter to hype real quick, man, because that has been a pretty if you did the hyper liquid lighter barbell to hedge, probably looking pretty good. Looks like I'm not able to do that though. Either way, this is. Can I pull up hype? No, I can't. Okay. Either way, whatever. This is the lighter chart. Lighter chart looks great. Again, integration into Robinhood. I think the metrics are looking pretty good. We've seen upticks across the board here in volumes for lighter. Going off my memory, though, I could be wrong. Hyperliquid, however, not looking great. Not looking too hot. It looks like it could roll. I mean, it's actively rolling over here and looks like it could fill some of this gap down here, at towards the lower bound of that $50 range. Backpacks on a pullback. Again, unsure like how profitable the backpack business is from the Sunrise integration. Of course, the two sides of the backpack Sunrise partnership is Sunrise is a product from Wormhole Labs. So bringing a lot of these products cross-chain or from off-chain on-chain and offering them on Solana. So we know like they get a nice fee from that. But the question is, how much is Backpack as the brokerage who is enabling this, who has the licenses, who's offering this, how much do they make? Not entirely sure. Heard $100 million figure from 2025 revenue. Not sure if that's up or down today, but Backpack's on a bit of a pool. Jupiter, broadly representing the Solana ecosystem, still in this lower range here. Again, but has been range bound for a while. JTO pulling back as expected. I would not bid JTO until we get to that 0.46 level and lower. You got to remember, they have like very little revenue right now. I mean, they're still doing $1 million every quarter or something like that, $1.5 million every quarter. But the JTX has not gone live yet. And until they start doing revenues, you can't trade based on like projections. What else here? Virtuals pulling back a little bit, broadly representing the Robinhood ecosystem. Arbitrum as well pulled back pretty much it pulled back the entire Arbitrum or Robinhood pump. Morpho is looking really good, actually. Uniswap's looking really good. This has been the strongest one, I think, from the Robinhood like narrative. But yeah, that's generally macro. Not too much to go through. Josh, here you got the O1 Resolve page up.
Oh, sorry, Dom. Yeah. So on cars, there is 50% was sold. So 50% at 1.1. So you're only at 550K circulating market cap, of which 200K is, base treasury assets. And then I believe, I don't know if he was rolling in some of his own collection to that as well. So there might be some value there, but I think you just got to look at this as, call it 300K, pre-money right now, which, pretty small valuation, I think. Daddy Duster, they do have a product in the works, but I don't think it is launched
yet. It's going to take some time. I think probably end of August is what I was hearing.
End of August. So again, we see that this market doesn't reward, patience very well. But this will, as soon as they go live and if the product works and it gets decent turnover, this will reprice quite quickly. So if you have let's say 3 month, 9 month time horizon, and they do execute well, the founder was really good, really talented founder. Knew what he was doing, market maker, like really math focused guy. You could do quite good because you got to think like Collector Crypt is, north of $500 million, something like that. And then you have something like this, which is just kind of starting out. So, narrative could take it pretty good. So,
yeah. And Gotcha's picking up, man. I just saw Logan Paul launch his own, like, now this is no surprise. Logan Paul's been in Pokemon for a long time, but he launched his own Pokemon Gotcha going off it's actually just a worse version of Collector Crypt. I think it's 90% buybacks if you just auto sell. And, it's just the same old Pokemon Gotcha, but we're starting to see the proliferation of Gotcha start to pick up. So I'm not sure, is that bullish or bearish cards that Logan Paul's dropping a Gotcha? I think it's kind of like a rising tide situation. He probably onboards the people, and then they realize, okay, I could get 95% buybacks over here, and inventory over here is $40 million worth of cards versus whatever Logan Paul's got, right? So I do think it's probably right. I think this is bullish cards
We got to think of gotcha as like a new primitive, a new mechanism, and it was innovated really with collector and crypt. That's where the volume started to go. I mean, I'm sure someone innovated it potentially beforehand, but that's where the volumes really happened. And then, you know, once that narrative gets out there, it's going to, you know, be a big thing. So
yeah, and let's check their chart. I did see revenue. They had a really good weekly print on revenue. This is trading at $34 million market cap. Overhang of the FTV is still like the biggest thing, I think. But they have $45 million in inventory. So that the inventory is actually higher than the market cap, which is always interesting to see. Let me pull up Blockworks again real quick, and we'll just look briefly at the numbers, and we got to bounce. But everything I'm seeing right now is still bullish collector crypt. All right. Here we go. Yeah, so make sure you check the unlock schedule, but still, even $268 million, like what I've been doing is taking the fully diluted value as face value. Like I'm not even looking at 34 million, I'm looking at the fully diluted value. So yeah, you look at gross profits. I got this on a weekly time frame. It had, you know, all-time highs here and then took a significant dip over the last couple of weeks. Again, marginally much higher than the previous even all-time highs, right? So it's nice to see the highs are much higher and then the lows are still higher than the previous highs, right? So it's actually a very healthy chart. They did $2.5 million in gross profit the week of the July 13th through 19th. And it looks like this week they're already at, or that week, this other week is closed and they did 2.1 million. So they're still averaging a little over $2 million a week in grossly profit. Openings, let's see. What are openings at? Okay, daily active users are kind of slightly declining. Again, still healthy though. If this is the low or starts bottoming out at some point around here, it's still higher than previously. And let's see. Where can I see? Maybe it's DeFi Llama, but there's somewhere you can also see how much they hold in their inventory, which is a really nice metric. And again, that's at like 40 million right now. So I don't know. I think Gotcha's in a good spot. It's starting to kind of catch mainstream adoption and attention. And it only takes one big mainstream player like Logan Paul and he did a lot for Pokemon. He did a lot to raise the floors of Pokemon. Yeah. So I think it takes one mainstream player to start showing, hey, Gotcha's like the new thing. It makes a lot more sense. And then everyone kind of floods in, and that's when you start getting the conversion to a collector crypt. But sports.
All right, guys, we gotta run, but yeah.
Yep.
Sports
Hang in there, guys.
I mean, sports with sports cards, I think will be big. I like these niche gotchas. I don't like the everything gotcha. I like the niche ones. So definitely think there's a couple X's in this cars play if you have the patience. Not financial advice, so I don't know, but
got you. Check replies in the show. Josh will be on that. Crypto Jones, appreciate you. But we do have to bounce because we got a meeting we got to be in, and yeah, in a couple minutes here. So we'll see you boys, guys. Hang in there. Markets are in a difficult spot. It's gonna be a little slow for a little bit. That's all good. Appreciate you guys always tuning in.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's so funny.
Something you should repeat or no? Real estate gotcha next. Prime South Beach property, or
Crypto Jones, you're diabolical as per usual with this, but
my goodness.
There it is.
The dancing monkeys. I actually love that. That's hilarious.
These are bionic bunnies
until the market picks up, guys.
Yeah, that's right, Crypto Jones. This is just all manifesting good markets.
Shout out Crypto Jones, man. It's funny.
That's so
my goat.
All right,
boys.
guys.
Peace.